Hey, how's it going, guys? So this here is my absolute all-time favorite vocal mic. This here is the AKG C4000B. While I talk in this mic, I'm actually going to show you the other one here. So this one has a cardioid, omni, and hypercardioid pickup pattern. So the reason why I want to make people aware of this mic, and I probably shouldn't because I'm giving you the sauce here. So never mind my road noise. I'm on a busy street right now. My house is right on a busy street, so you're gonna hear a little bit of background noise, but hopefully you can actually capture the essence of the vocals through this mic. So a lot of people who make music and stuff like that, they always aspire to having mics like the C414 or the Neumann TLM 103 or U87, stuff like that. This is nothing like a Neumann mic, but this do have a very, very familiar AKG dynamic sound. I would compare this mic more closer to the XLS, the C414, rather than the XL2. So I remember just recently talking to somebody here on TikTok about them upgrading their mics because they were looking at a C414, and I'm like, well, if you like the sound of the C414, why don't you look at the C314? And I know even the C314 is almost $800, right? And this here is the older C314. I believe they use the exact same capsule. They didn't really change a lot except how it looked and the fact that the 314 has figure of 8. If you don't necessarily need figure of 8, then this would be an awesome replacement to why you might be looking at a C314. So some of the things that I want to go over, this has a very high sound pressure level tolerance of 155 decibels, I believe. This has a very, very low self noise at 8 decibels. This mic came out in 1998. So you might be thinking to yourself, man, I really need to upgrade my cheaper mic. I want a better mic, but the next step up, the next significant step up is $700 away, right? But only if you were willing to go back in time. Only if you were willing to go back in time and take a little bit of an eBay risk, you might be able to get a significant step up for a lot less money than what you paid for the mic you want to upgrade right now. This is internally shock mounted. So that same person, they asked me, am I able to use the 314 on stage? And I said, yeah, well, I didn't even get a chance to reply yet. This is my reply. Yes, it's internally shock mounted. So I don't actually need this shock mount that much. However, I would still rather use the shock mount. Um, and another thing that I would say too is that it does have a bass roll off switch, which I'm going to activate now. I probably do need it. I'm feeding this signal from my audio recorder to my phone, and my phone kind of amplifies the signal a lot more. So that bass roll off switch is probably necessary. So this is me talking in the side of the mic in cardioid. This is me talking in the side of the mic in hypercardioid. I like the hypercardioid pattern a lot more. The low end is tighter and not as big. The overall signal sound tighter rather than wide and big. Um, it does have a negative 10 dB pad rather than the negative 20 dB pad that you will see on most mics these days. And another thing about this mic too is that it is fairly inexpensive to buy on the used market. Some people on eBay want to still sell these mics for $600, 5 and 600, and I'm like, 5 and 600 for a 30-year-old mic? I don't think so. You know, if you can get this for less than 200, then you got yourself a deal. If you're gonna pay 5 or 600, just get a C314. No, it's no 414, but it's most of the way there as far as how clean and professional that sound is. It is a double diaphragm capsule, so it does record an omni. So this is an omni mode. This is the front of the mic. This is an omni mode. This is the back of the mic. The side close up in omni. I don't really like it that much. It's got a lot of side rejection. But maybe if it was a little further away in omni, it probably won't sound too much like that. And let's go back in cardioid mode. Most people are going to use this mic in cardioid mode. So if you want a nice big vocal sound that sound much better than what you would get out of the P120, P220, probably even the P420, the only thing this mic don't have is figure of 8. But as far as sound quality, affordable price, durability, this mic is built like a tank. These things last forever. This is an awesome steal. I'm giving away the sauce. I probably shouldn't tell you just in case I might want to buy a third one, but I think 2 of them are good enough for me, and I just thought that I might share this news to help somebody else out right now. Most inexpensive mics these days are very bright, thin, harsh, shrill, stuff like that. And if only you were willing to go back in time, you might be able to get yourself an awesome mic. And another good mic that's similar to this is in style, but not functionality and sound, is the C2000B. The C2000B sounds quite similar to how this mic sound in hypercardioid with the bass roll-off switch engaged. The very first AKG mic I ever had was a C2000B, and that's the reason I ended up buying a C4000B, because I was looking for a C2000B and I wanted to hear samples of it on YouTube, and I ended up discovering that a 4000B exists. This is not nearly the same sound as a C3000B. The C3000B has a totally different sound altogether. A lot of people don't like it, but you can modify the 3000 to get a similar sound to this. But a lot of people don't know how to modify, want to modify, or anything like that. So I would recommend you just to either get this one or the 2000B. But come on, man. I mean, for the sound you get out of this mic, you really can't ask for a better deal. And when you spend $150, $200, something like that on a mic this good, this durable, and this functional, it's really hard to justify buying a Neumann TLM 103 unless you're a professional engineer that record a lot of different things and a lot of different people. Then you might have reasons for a lot of different mics. But if you your own engineer and recording artist and you just want to build a home studio on a budget, this is good, honestly. And another reason why this is an awesome deal is simply because you actually get a shock. Most of the time, you can find this mic for the same price as you can a shock mount. The shock mounts for these go for like 150. What I paid for the mics with a shock mount, 150. So get it with a shock mount and you got yourself a good deal. If it come without a shock mount, pass, because you're going to end up buying the shock mount anyway, and chances are you could still find one for the same price with a shock mount. The shock mounts that are included are either the H100 and the H85, which is the same as what I got on the mic already. I don't know if you can tell, but the H100 is a little bit wider than the H85, and the H100 is a little older too. I would prefer the H85 because it just take up a smaller footprint. So just do your research on some mics. If you want a really good mic for a really good price, it is not necessary to buy something that just came out or something that everybody else use. Everybody want everybody else's sound. And That's not always good, especially if you want music that sound unique, different, and you also want a mic that just work for you. What worked for everybody else is not always going to work for you. So just watch some reviews, listen to some samples, read reviews, stuff like that, and just look at prices on eBay and Guitar Center and things like that. One of the things that I will say about this mic too, these two are the same exact mic, but one of them were modified just a little bit than the other. This one, serial number 2000, the one I'm recording through, serial number 19,000, which means one of them are significantly older than the other one. And because these have internal foam, all depending on the age of the mic, that foam might be deteriorated. So you might have to take the mic apart and pull the foam out just to make sure that that foam is not falling apart on that capsule. I would prefer to have my foam out, but on this one, the foam is still in because it's still intact. But at some point in time, I will be taking it out and just using both of the mics without the foam in there, just to have a bit more security and knowing that it won't deteriorate over time. It is 30 years old. It's a back electric capsule. And after 30 years of this mic being out, that electric, backplate electric, whatever that is, has not lost any sound quality, has not lost any signal, has not lost anything. I think this is a steal. So let me go re-engage that bass roll off so you can hear how it sound in hypercardioid with the bass roll off, just getting the full sound of the mic. I have the 10 dB pad engaged, so let's disengage that 10 dB pad. And that way you getting full signal out of this mic, minus my road noise out here. During the day, road noise is bad. And I usually would like to record at a different time or use some kind of AI noise reduction plugin just to kind of focus my voice from all the other ambient sounds. But that's beside the point. That's beside the point. Shop vintage, shop used. Everything is not always about buying one brand new. I mean, you might look around and be able to afford four for the price of that one mic you was looking at. Everything is not always about Neumann. Everything is not always about C414. Sometimes there are some really good deals out there. You just got to be willing to look. But I hope this review has helped somebody. And man, the sound that I get out of this mic is so fat and big. I'm talking about low end for days. The real problem with most budget mics is that it is extremely boosted on the high end to make it sound mix ready before you even mix. And they're very, I was trying to say very and really, very anemic on the low end. And so even though it might sound clean and clear before you mix, it sound a whole lot different after you mix. And you might find yourself with a lot of these cheaper Chinese made mics with more to fix than you have to mix. You know, I would much rather pull off low end than to be trying to figure out how I'm going to use the mic with all of that extended harshness and high end. You know, there is a tad bit of a high end boost on here, but not so boosted to where it's harsh and shrill. And the low end you get out of this mic is more than enough to ask for. More than enough. So if you found this review helpful, please like the video, please. So just for you to hear something more than me speaking into the mic, I'm gonna go ahead and spit a verse for you, just so that way you can hear how it sound if somebody was doing something like rapping, right? Let me think of that one verse of that one song that I know. That one song I wrote that I know. It go like, so when that light in you be darkness, please tell me how great is it? On the top of the congregation is where you think you about to sit before this earth. You had one job and threw it all away, not just the first, but the worst of all with those who fall away. I'm not okay. I can feel his heart break at what you did long before you had beguiled Eve when Adam ran and hid. This the message that I give, the one that he already wrote. On that day, he gonna separate the sheep right from the goat. I don't know why I woke up with a sense of vengeance in my heart, cause you got right in between and me and God that grew apart. I'm his boy, got me covered by the blood of his only boy. Satan keep the world, he bout to burn it up, so go enjoy. You can have them gold wings, you can have that gold throne, you can have this whole world and lose the whole soul. Through your fake smile, I'm hearing real lies, not surprised why you can never see it through them dark eyes. Whew. I really want to record that song over. I ain't lying to you, because I recorded that with the P220 and my vocals sounded so thin. Not only that, man, it is like, you know, I done ended up with new preamps and compressors and everything like that since then. So one thing I do want to add, now that I'm sitting here looking at it, is if you get the mic and it's got one of these foam wind covers like this, you can tell if the foam is deteriorated by whether or not this is deteriorated. And the original one is like a dark bluish color, which I really hate the look of. And don't mind my plosives and things like that. Even though the mic still has the windscreen on the inside, you still get some plosives and overemphasize S's and T's without using a pop filter. With a pop filter, everything is a lot more cleaned up. But yeah, peace.